sober, busy living sober, busy living sober. How is everybody today? It is Wednesday, September 18th, and it is episode 480. How is everybody today? If you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm Elizabeth Chance, host of Busy Living Sober, and I am so glad that you are here. And today's topic is abandonment. It's so interesting, I think, that so many people that I work with and so many people that I know are so scared to be abandoned. They're scared to be left by the wayside. They're scared that people are going to desert them. They are scared that they're not going to have anybody that loves them. So, so, so sad. Where does that come from? That fear of abandonment from your childhood, maybe from when literally you're in pre-K and you get dropped off at school by your parents and you're scared they're never going to come back. That's a true feeling that I've seen many children have when they're very young. They're like scared that they're going to be left, that's going to be it. They're going to be living at preschool for the rest of their lives. Luckily, moms and dads do show up and they're like so happy. But when you watch children, and especially if you go to one of those glass windows that they can't see out the other way, so you can see in, but they can't see out, you can watch your child and you drop them off and they get very emotional when you're there. They want to hang on your leg and be, please, please, please don't leave me. But once you're gone and a couple minutes have passed, most people end up settling down and getting okay in their environment. But we feel like we're going to be alone, especially when we give up our best friend being alcohol, right? We give up alcohol and all bets are off. By the way, here's a Pellegrino, my favorite drink that I ever have. Non-drinker. This is what I drink, Pellegrino with a lemon. But I just had to give them a little ad, even though they don't pay me to do that. I just have to support Pellegrino because I love it. But not to digress, this abandonment feeling we have that we're going to be lost and we're going to be alone is really scary. Because I think as human beings, we are meant to be with each other. If we go back to the Bible and Adam and Eve, when God made Adam, he begged. Adam begged God, please give me another person to talk to. I'm so lonely. I need you to make someone else. And God then made Eve. And I think that us as human beings are supposed to be with others. But see, the disease of alcoholism is so isolating. So many people that I know that are battling alcoholism, towards the end of their drinking, they weren't drinking in public. They were actually drinking at home in their bed, at home in their bedrooms, all alone, isolated with the covers over them, like they're so scared and they're hiding in their own private cocoon that they've made in their bed. And all they allow in is the alcohol. They just say, come give it to me. I want to have this alcohol because I'm so scared. It's so scary when we feel alone. It's so debilitating, that fear. It takes over everything. As rational or irrational as it is, it's a true fear people have of being left. I mean, I remember when I was little, like my parents, I don't think they do this anymore. Maybe they do. I have no idea. But I know my parents used to be, when I was being not very good in the car, they'd be like, I'm going to leave you on the side of the road and I'm not picking you back up. And that sense of like, oh no, I'm going to be good because I don't want to be left alone. Nobody wants to be left alone, especially on the side of the road or left somewhere where they know no one. That's so fearful, right? But I know this: if we believe in God, if we have some form of relationship with God, then we'll never be alone. Never. We will always have someone, even though we can't touch God all the time and we can't feel him all the time. Even though I tell you I felt God, and you might think I'm crazy, and I feel crazy telling you this story, but I'm going to tell you two stories. One is, I remember, maybe like this is probably, well, I've been sober 18 years, maybe I had 5 years, so 13 years ago plus. I remember being in my bed on the third floor of my house in Wayne and being really scared and really sad and really lonely, really, really lonely, and feeling like, is this it? Is this it? And just, I remember even being kind of in a fetal position in my bed upstairs all by myself thinking, is this it? And I felt like I was falling asleep, like that feeling like you're about to fall asleep. Felt all of a sudden like arms around me and just holding me and saying, is you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And I just know in my heart that that was God. He came down to give me, to put his arms around me and let me know I'm going to be okay because I felt so alone. I felt so scared. I felt abandoned. I think I had a relationship that was ending at the time, and it was so heartbreaking, as when relationships do end, it doesn't matter who it's with. If it's with somebody you have relations with, um, if you have, an intimate relationship with, or if it's just a friend or even a family member. And when it goes away and dissipates, it's like you feel really lonely, like a part of your heart is gone. Like you just have to close off that heart. And I've mentioned before that there's times in my sobriety and in life that I've put this big metal wall around my heart because I don't want to be hurt again. But I'm learning now that the only person I'm hurting when I put that metal around my heart is me, because I'm closing myself off not only to the fear of other people, but the brightness I can get from others. Like it's crazy because when you close your heart, not only does the bad not come in, but neither does the good. So having your heart open, even though you're scared. So that was the one time I totally remember God coming down and hugging me. The second time I remember God coming to me, I don't know if it was, I'll just tell you the story and you can take from it what you want. So as I do often, question my podcast and question, should I keep doing it? Should I keep doing it? And so the other morning, actually, it was Monday morning, it was yesterday morning, or was it Sunday? I can't remember what morning it was, but anyway, it was in the past like 4 days. And I was in bed and I'm like, God, should I keep doing this podcast? Should I keep putting myself out there? Should I keep telling people what I think about politics, about what I think about you, God, about what I think about different things? Not only recovery, but should I keep doing this, God? Should I keep doing this? And so I put it out there, and that was in my morning hour of when I, do my prayers and everything. And I went outside with my warm cup of water with lemon and a little bit of salt, which I do every morning. And I go outside and I walk out in the grass and I sat down on one of the lounge chairs. Um, after I've been walking around, excuse me, after I've been walking around and I get in the lounge chair and I lay back and I'm sitting there with my mug in my hand and I'm looking at the sky, which I do a lot. And it's mostly blue in the morning here, even though today it was filled with clouds and rain. But a couple of days ago it wasn't. And it was a blue sky. And all of a sudden, a spoonbill flew over my house. For those of you that know, spoonbill is my logo. It's a pink bird that's beak is shaped like a spoon. They're pink. They fly in the sky. They like to eat shrimp. That's one of the reasons why they're pink. And you see them a lot down here in South Florida and in North Florida. I've seen them there a ton too, in little ponds and on golf courses in little ponds. And I never see them because I'm a little closer to the ocean than I am to the where there's golf courses. And one lonely spoonbill flew over my backyard. Was that God? Or was that a coincidence? Now, see, I don't believe in coincidences. I think everything is a wink from God. I think if we're awake and alive and present and we are willing to listen and drown out all the noise from the media and what's going on in the world and just really watch and are present in our lives, God can speak to us through different things. So I think if you're out there and you're like, I feel alone, I'm totally alone, I don't have any chance of being with anybody else, ask God if he'll show you if he's there, whatever way you want to. If you need an answer, And I have to tell you, I just heard recently that if you if you don't get an answer right away, that it's okay. Just be patient. Be patient. That's why a lot of times people say, before you make a decision, maybe you should sleep on it. Before you make a choice, maybe you should sleep on it. Give it 24 hours. Give God whatever time He needs to be present in your life because you aren't alone. Even when you're snuggled up in that bed with the sheets pulled over your head and you and a bottle of Chardonnay and you feel like you're alone, God is there. He's watching you. So is the Blessed Mother, and so are your angels. And you might think, oh my gosh, this girl's absolutely crazy. You can think I'm crazy. That's okay. I don't mind. But I can tell you this, God is real. And I think that it's really hard to stay sober or even to stay sane if you don't have a group around you or you don't have a community. It was interesting. I went to this thing called Alpha. I've told you guys about it. I think I actually mentioned it in my newsletter. The Alpha course that I'm doing is, it's the gentleman was a barrister. He's English, a barrister, which means a lawyer in England. His father was a lawyer. His grandfather was a lawyer. His kids are lawyers. Everybody's lawyers. Everybody's barristers in his family. And he didn't believe in God. And he was kind of like an atheist. And he said, I think religion's boring. And he started this and found out he ended up picking up the Bible and reading the Bible. He even said, which I find so interesting, as he said, Christian people, why are they always smiling? Why do people that believe in God always smiling? And he realized there he was smiling in this video that, because we know that we're not alone and that God loves us. That is the best gift ever. We can have a smile on our face because we know we're not alone. We can surrender and say, God, please help me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight this disease anymore, please. And that's where the 12-step program is so brilliant because it brought together just two people. If just two people come together and say to each other, I understand how you're feeling, it gives us this sense of euphoria because we don't feel so isolated anymore. We don't feel abandoned. We don't feel abandoned. If we can talk to someone and have them listen and not judge us, miracles can happen, right? Total miracles can happen if you're willing to be open. This class that's on Monday nights, the first week I think there were 70 people. There were 100 people there on Monday night, and it was so fun. And I brought a friend of mine who I don't think necessarily would have done this, but she's at a place that she's willing to listen and try new things. And she's like, all right, I'll go with you. And we left and she's like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And why I think it is so amazing, and this is again, in my opinion, just like everything that goes on this podcast, I think the reason why she found it so interesting was that when you are around other people, especially all different walks of life, right? There's all different walks of life that go to this course and with all different jobs and all different life experiences. And when you ask a group of strangers, what would you ask God if He were presented in front of you? And you get to hear other people's points of view and not a mean way and not a judgmental way, but a curious way. You get to learn. Wouldn't that be amazing if you could have those conversations about politics today where it wouldn't get heated, where you could say, why are you voting for this person? And you could say to somebody else, why are you voting for that person? And it wouldn't be cantankerous. It wouldn't be angry. It wouldn't be mean. It wouldn't be hurtful. And it would just be out of just sheer curiosity. I can't even say the word, you guys. Curiosity. I can't even say it. Curiosity. Oh my gosh. Curiosity. Anyway, it would just because you wanted to hear what somebody else was doing and why. That's fair, right? You want to know why are you choosing this person? Please explain to me. Please teach me why. I want to hear your reasoning. And if there isn't anger and animosity between the two people anymore, and there's just pure curiosity, I just messed it up again. You guys are going to send me messages, I hope, saying, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, you can't even say curiosity. Curiosity. Anyway, just because you want to know how the person feels and why they feel that way, and you come together as two people with no ulterior motives, it's like magic. It's like pure, utter magic because you're able to hear without a judgmental mind, without thinking this is what this person should say. You're just there in the present listening. And you're not listening to give a response. You're listening because you want to hear what the other person is saying. You know, one of the questions that they asked again on Monday was, if you were to be famous, which, as you guys know, I kind of want to be famous. I don't know why I want to be famous because I've heard so many people say that it's so horrible. But the only reason I would want to be famous, what would you want to be famous for? And what I would want to be famous for, you guys, is being the person that went out there and told everybody that there is no shame in addiction, that the people that battle alcoholism and drug addiction are not bad people. No, in fact, they're the most bright people. They're the brightest people. They're so smart. Got such huge hearts. They're emotional human beings. They have feelings that are so big that they're actually the blessed people that are walking on this planet because they are such strong feelings that they don't know what to do with them, and they pick up a drink because they don't want to feel. At least that was what it was for me. I couldn't feel. So give me alcohol. And if I had feelings, I'd break because I had such big feelings, such big ranges of feelings, right? You would get so sad and so lonely. You'd want to climb in that bed by yourself. You'd want to beat yourself up. That's us alcoholics and drug addicts. And I think we need to be loved and not judged. I think we need to come together and pull each other up and not pull each other down. We need to have treatment facilities that are there to help love the person, to teach the person to how to have a relationship with something bigger than them that they can't feel and can't touch. It can't all be about the 900 thread count sheets and going to a beautiful place with beautiful beds and yoga and all the rest of this stuff that's like healing in some sort of way. When real healing is getting down and talking to somebody you trust, showing that person that there is a God, that they aren't alone, that the person they're talking to understands them and says you're not by yourself. That's the whole abandonment issue, right? Nobody wants to be by themselves. Why would you? What makes us ever think we're supposed to be alone, locked in our houses, besides COVID, which was a complete and utter joke, and more people are sick of mental illness today than they were of COVID. So we think that isolating our people, isolating us is the answer? I don't think so. I think coming together and loving each other is where we find answers today. I think true sense of not being alone, sense of not being scared is when we have somebody next to us, right? I can tell you this, when I was raising my kids, a lot of you know I've been divorced for a really long time. So I was divorced, living in a house, and it was a twin. So what does a twin house mean? It's like a duplex. So my house, so I have an exterior wall that goes outside to the outside. My windows look outside, but I have an interior wall that doesn't look at anything. And on the other side of that wall is a family. And I could hear the family through the wall. I could hear up and down. I could hear laughing. I could hear crying. I could hear people. So when I was alone and my kids would maybe be at their dad's house, I never felt alone because I could hear the people next door on the other side of the wall. I remember being able to look out the window, like on a snow day, and look out the window. I have this big front picture window in my house in Philadelphia, in Wayne, PA. I have a big picture window, and I can look out that window down my street, and I can see another street. And down that street, I could see people walking in the snow. And it was just beautiful because, again, I wasn't alone. Yes, there was no actual human beings in my house that I could see or touch, feel, but I could see them outside my window. I could hear them next door. I wasn't alone. And all it takes is the courage to open the door and say, "Hey up there, how you doing? Are you enjoying the snow?" Or knock on that that wall I had and say, "Hi, how you guys doing today? What are you guys doing over there?" And we could do that. I was never alone. That sense of being abandoned, that sense of being alone, because I have felt alone in a house full of all sorts of people. I've felt alone at parties surrounded by a bunch of people because I was so absorbed with myself. It was me, 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 me. I didn't have the opportunity to actually take a deep breath and go over and talk to somebody and have a real conversation, like sit down and talk to somebody. Actually get to a place that I could be quiet and speak to that person, just like I do at the church. Like we have this big table full of people I don't even know, and we are free with with our feelings and our thoughts. And that sense that we're alone is a lie. And I think it comes from the dark side of life, right? Like it's the darkness of life that pulls you to that place of like, you're alone, you're going to be abandoned. You change, you're not going to have any friends. You put down that drink, you're not going to be ready to talk to. You put this down, this drug, you're not going to be able to handle any situations. You need medication to get through with what you're doing. You need antidepressants. You need certain drugs because if you don't have them, you're not going to be okay. And I think there are some people that do need medication. But I think in America, we hand out medication like it's candy. Like you can't have a feeling, you can't do this, you need this medication or you're not going to be okay. Because there is no more sense of God in certain places in America, right? We're raised to think we got this, we got this, we got this, you got this. You're going to go to this treatment center and you're going to be okay. I will tell you, most treatment centers, all you're getting from the treatment center is 30 days of knowing your loved one. If you get 30 days from your insurance, by the way, 30 days, 30 nights of sleep, 29 nights of being able to sleep in your bed and not worry about your loved one that's battling addiction. That's about it. But most addicts just want love, unconditional love, an unconditional heart to listen and hear them. A person that says to them, I get how you're feeling. I know this is hard, but you are not alone. And sometimes it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to ever get to that place that you really ask someone that's God fearing, because a lot of people are scared of God and being ridiculed or mocked for believing in God. You know, another question they asked was that, did Jesus rise from the dead? Did he walk on this planet? What is your thought? Did Jesus walk on earth? Did he die on the cross? Did they get to his tomb and find that he was no longer there and just the fabrics that were around his body when he had died? There were only things left were fabric. His headpiece was folded up in a different spot than what was on his body. Is that real or is that made up? Because you think about how the Blessed Mother must have felt when her son was being crucified, but she knew that he was going to go to heaven. And so she didn't have that sense of, I need to go insane, right? Because my child's no longer here. Instead, she had a sense like, he's now with God. My child is now with God, is with Jesus Christ. And I think a lot of us, we all know we're going to die, right? It's just a matter of time. It's when. When? And knowing that we're going to go to heaven, at least for me personally, gives me a sense that, oh my gosh, it's okay. It's okay. I've raised my kids. I hope to see my grandchildren if that's God's will. I'm going to end with this. You know, in step 3 of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's you say that you're willing to turn your will and life over to the care of God as you understand Him. And obviously, I'm sitting here with over 18 years of continuous sobriety and working on my relationship with God for 18 years. And some years it hasn't been as strong, but where I am today and where I am on my path, I'm really, trying to get closer and closer to God. And is it because of what's going on in the world? I don't know if it's just where I am, but it's very important to me. So, Monday nights I go to my Alpha class, and Thursday mornings I go to a Walking with Purpose Bible study. And what I have learned so far is when they say turn your will and your life over to the care of God, if you were to go along your life, and this does not mean just sitting at home and doing nothing, but if you're willing to take a step in the right direction for you, and you're like, well, I don't know what that direction is. Well, just walk where your heart says. Just get quiet and say, where am I supposed to go? And you'll hear in your heart where you're supposed to go. Everything will work out exactly the way it's supposed to. But if you make yourself crazy thinking this is what I want, and if I don't get this, my life isn't going to be okay, that's your head. That's you. That's not God. God wants you to say, trust me. I've got you. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Takes a lot of faith, doesn't it? Takes a lot of trust. But rather than sitting there and hurting ourselves and repeating the same stories that I'm not good enough, I'm not, I'm this, I'm that, that's never going to bring you peace, is it? It's going to let that thought that you're always going to be abandoned and by yourself when you're never by yourself, my friend. You are never by yourself. That's the lie. Because God's always watching over you. I believe that heaven's just right there, right above the clouds. That's where God is. It's where your loved ones that have passed before you are. That's where the Blessed Mother is. Jesus Christ is there. And you're never going to be abandoned. The first person who has to stop abandoning you is you. Put on a new set of glasses. My dear friend said yesterday that learning to trust God is like a muscle. It's like going to the gym. You have to do it every day. You got to keep practicing. I got to get this to work. I got to get this to work. I got to get this muscle to work. You can get this muscle to work. I promise. I promise. If you keep practicing day by day, one day at a time, you will start to trust that everything in God's world is perfect. It's your point of view, no one else's. And you're worth it. You're worth having a friend. Once you believe in you, you can go out and meet people. And it might be like you believe in yourself and you love yourself just an eighth of your body, let's say. And that will grow. But take a step. Make a friend. Trust someone. Take that steel that we have around our hearts and let it down a little bit. And yes, you could get hurt again. But you could get loved too. Try it. You are so worth it. You are so worth it. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, say a prayer for me. I have to have another epidural this afternoon at 2:00 here in on Wednesday. I'm praying this one works. Please, God, please have it work. Because if not, I'm gonna have to have surgery. But I just share with you guys what's going on with me. And I just want you to know, again, you're not by yourself. You're not gonna be abandoned. Don't you abandon you. Use all the gifts that God gave you that are different than what my gifts are and what get different than your next door neighbors are and your friends are. Whatever gifts you have, embrace them, share them with the world, share your story. Reach out to me. My email address is Elizabeth, elizabeth at elizabethlchance.com. You can also email me at Elizabeth, elizabeth, the letter L, chance, chance at gmail.com. That's more of my, personal account, but whichever one works for you works for me. And go to busylivingsober.com and sign up for my newsletter that will come directly into your inbox every Friday at 10 a.m. And just know this, you are not alone. God loves you. I love you. And I'm cheering you on each and every day. Take care, everybody. And until next time, keep getting busy, living. So, bye, everybody.